Welcome everyone to our meeting of the first quarter of. Oh, someone is joining in. I'll just do it. Meet him. So this is first meeting of this year. It's a little bit later than usual. Usually we start in February, but because of some circumstances, we had to push it back a little bit. So please come in. So I hope everybody here as well online as well as here. And what is our agenda today? So our agenda is right in front of you. So in a couple of minutes, we will hear Sebastian Storey with Matt. He will tell us latest news about Qlik. Then Gennadii and Anna, they will present their platform and talk about BI and beyond, how to improve user engagement with analytics. Richard will present survey result. We sent out survey a little bit in advance. I got not too many responses, unfortunately, but hopefully we will. It will be enough. So then there will be two presentations from myself. One is I will compare self-service in Qlik and Power BI. And then there will be a quick tip how to make things quicker in Qlik. Probably closer to financial reports, but actually it makes it faster anywhere. Anyway, after that, there will be a networking session. As you probably noticed, there is a small change now in our team. Used to be the person running it was Craig Harper, but he stepped down from this role, and temporarily I'm taking this role, but still looking for new people in our committee. But I will talk about it a bit later. So now, Sebastian, it's over to you. Please. It's over to you.
Hi guys, welcome everyone. So yeah, we're just going to spend about 20 minutes sharing a bit of an update around a couple of our products. So we're constantly updating our platform through our own, through our own development as well as through some acquisitions. So these ones here that we're going to share with you today, that Matt's going to take you through, is our cloud integration platform, which we're continuing to develop, as well as AutoML, which is a fairly recent capability that we've added into the SaaS analytics platform. We're hoping as well, it's been publicly announced that we're in the process of acquiring Talend. So hopefully we'll be able to share with you a little bit more during the next session about the implications for that to our platform. Over to you, Matt.
Awesome. Thanks, Sebastian.
You're on mute.
No.
Thanks, Sebastian. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry about that. You talked about our SaaS-based platform, and I did just want to, just step back and talk about really the breadth of capability that Qlik delivers today, ranging from helping organizations be able to free their data with some of our data integration capabilities, the ability to manage that data with some of our catalog capabilities, of course, our heritage all around BI and analytics, now extending to more advanced analytics and machine learning, and then the ability for users to be able to take action on that with some capabilities we have with application automation.
Matt, we don't hear you. It looks like you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Sorry about that. It looks like as I'm advancing the slides, I'm accidentally instead muting Teams. So I will do that another way. Perfect. Thank you. Sorry about that. So there's two aspects, as Sebastian said, I wanted to cover off some recent enhancements with our Qlik Cloud data integration, as well as AutoML. Now, our data integration is all around helping people to be able to deliver, transform, and bring together all sorts of different enterprise data, really to enable all sorts of use cases from analytics, machine learning, advanced analytics, whatever that use case is. And ultimately, we help to provide a capability that allows organizations to easily bring together a whole bunch of different sources, I think leveraging over 250 different sources we support to deliver it to a range of targets, as well as the ability to do transformations and create these real-time pipelines using our cloud-based data integration capabilities. Now, as I talk about our cloud-based data integration capabilities, it doesn't mean you need to make your data accessible to the cloud or accessible to a public cloud. Rather, our customers deploy what we call a gateway that gives the ability for us to be able to connect securely to on-premise data, for that data to be able to be streamed or moved in real time directly from the gateway to the target without being passed through our cloud, and then the ability for us to do transformations through the use of push-down SQL, supporting in a secure fashion. I'm going to go ahead and give a brief overview of that capability now. I'm inside my Qlik Cloud environment here, my Qlik tenant, and I'm currently inside our data integration capabilities. And what we're looking at here is a data pipeline that I've created to help me to take data from some on-premise applications and deliver that in an analytics-ready format for my users, in this case, to Snowflake, but it could be something like Azure Synapse or BigQuery or Redshift. Now, in this case, I have some data in two on-premise systems, one that leverages a MySQL database backend, another that leverages a Postgres backend. And this is some information I'm bringing to the cloud about some employees and some of our employee hierarchy here. Now, on this pipeline view, you can see I've got a number of different processes that ultimately helps to deliver the data in real time and then transforms and stores that data in various different ways. Now, on top of this data set, I have a Qlik Analytics application that currently has a view of what this data is about my employees. And what I want to do just off the bat is go ahead and make a change to the data and then talk through what happens as part of that process here. So I'm just going to call out this first employee here, this person here called Georgie. Let's just say hypothetically his details get updated in the source system. I'm going to go ahead and do that crudely directly in the MySQL database by literally just renaming that person there to George. And then I'm going to talk through this process here and what happens here. So what I've done is I've created a data movement task, this first process here that helps to land my data, in this case to my target, which is Snowflake. Then on top of that landed data, I have a process called a storage process, which ultimately helps to create some business, some up-to-date views that users can use in order to consume that real-time data in a really efficient way without us necessarily committing every change as it occurs. And so instead what we do is we create something called live views, which essentially allows us to take all of the committed changes and union in those changes when that view is actually accessed in order to minimize compute cost and ultimately to more efficiently use some of these cloud-based targets that we support. As part of this process as well, I can define certain transformation rules to do things like rename columns, convert data types and things like that. And I can also go ahead and create new columns. In this case, I've created a column here called full name, which simply combines first and last name and capitalizes it there as well. As part of the next step, we're then able to transform the data in order to, in this case, bring together these two different data sets that came from these two different sources. And as part of this transformation process, we have the ability to also include things like custom SQL. So we can actually use SQL if we want to do some really complex stuff in order to drive some of that transformation as well, or use our wizard and our GUI-driven approach there. And then finally, we have a capability that allows us to easily build out data marts. In this case, defining a star schema that will be used for that data mart that we're designed here. Now, as these updates are occurring, what happens is Qlik pushes those changes through this pipeline, allowing really the seamless ability for users to work with up-to-date data off the assets that we're creating here. For example, if I go back to my application and just simply hit refresh, I should see that George's name has been changed. Sorry, that name has been changed to George. Which it has, which is great. And then really the value here is as we get changes in requirements, as there's new data feeds, new sources, new things we need to incorporate into our analytics ready data, it's easy to then add new processes as part of this pipeline. So I could easily onboard some new data from a new source system, or if I didn't need to move data, if I already had data, in this case in Snowflake, I wanted to incorporate, I could just register that data and include that as part of the transformation capabilities here. Simply add new steps, for example, new transformation steps, in order to create some new processes, selecting the data elements I want to include. If I go back to the pipeline, then seeing that now added as part of that process there. So Qlik Cloud data integration is all about a visual approach for us to be able to create these pipelines, this real-time data feed, delivering it to targets, including things like Snowflake. We also use this same approach to create what we call active QVDs, which is a way for us to deliver data to Qlik Cloud for analytics purposes, being able to use up-to-date data using these cloud data integration capabilities there. Now, one of the things we have just announced is a whole new strategy to build on top of the existing 250 connectors we have in Qlik Cloud. That we have for our integration capabilities. And that's this new process that we're calling Connector Factory, which is essentially marketing speak for a new way in which we're going to release connectors. But under the hood, what we're doing is we're making some changes as to how we're able to onboard connectors. And what this means is we're intending to roll out expanded connectivity to a huge variety of common SaaS-based sources and applications, with the goal to have over 150 new connectors by the end of the year, and at least 10 every single month as we're going through that cadence here. So this is something we're going to have more to share soon, but Connector Factory is a new process and a new way in which we're going to be delivering connectivity as part of Qlik Cloud data integration. The next aspect I wanted to cover off.
You can't hear you, Matt.
Yeah, we don't hear you, Matt.
Sorry about that. The next thing is AutoML, and this is really part of our analytics capabilities as part of our Qlik Cloud platform, really designed to help create citizen data scientists out of your analytics users and BI teams. AutoML is a no-code automated machine learning platform that ultimately helps users to easily be able to create what we call machine learning experiments, looking for smoke signals in some of their data, ultimately generate machine learning models and then deploy them as part of their Qlik applications so that more users are able to benefit from the power of machine learning. Now, we typically pitch this hover capability really to allow our BI teams to be able to solve, the other 90% of use cases that potentially data scientists might not be touching today. So it could be things around marketing or finance or operations or HR, areas that might be secondary to an organization, but certainly, would have valuable use cases that could be benefited from using some of this capability here. If I jump back across to my Qlik environment, I'm going to go back to my analytics section there. And in this case, jump into a specific Qlik application. This application is all around looking at customer information, doing some customer analysis, potentially looking at the sentiment or their satisfaction, and ultimately getting a sense of who's leaving us as a customer or who's sticking around. Now, as part of this application, we've pulled together lots of different data in order to create this interactive view that people typically get as part of our Qlik analytics experience, where users can interact, make selections, and see related values as well as excluded values. Now, as part of building this application, what we've done is pulled together data from lots of different sources, data from a CRM system, information about what customers are spending from our finance system, a whole bunch of other dimensional information as well, including things like customer feedback scores. And this is what Qlik is great at, being able to bring together lots of different data in a really agile way. Now, what would be really useful is to be able to then use this information to help me predict who's potentially likely to leave us or who's likely to churn. And that's exactly what AutoML helps us to achieve here. So inside of Qlik Cloud, I can launch straight into AutoML, and what AutoML coaches me through is firstly selecting me ultimately what is the field that I want to predict. Now, in my case, in my data model, I've got a field called churned, with whether someone is or isn't going to leave. And that's ultimately what I want AutoML to help me to predict. Now, it's going to go ahead and apply a whole bunch of best practice in terms of automatically excluding fields that aren't going to add value, or encoding the data in certain ways, again, in order to make it more useful for machine learning. And then all I have to do is go ahead and hit configure. It's going to suggest the most relevant algorithms for the type of problem I'm trying to solve. I can go ahead and explore and change some of this if I understand and I want to fine tune it more, or I could simply just hit run, at which point Qlik is going to go ahead and train and test the model for performance by holding out a certain subset of data using data science best practice, cross-fold validation, and then ultimately present to me various scores to help me essentially make an assessment as to which model may be more accurate at helping to predict the outcome there. And in this case, Qlik has gone ahead and completed that process against all these models. It's selected the logistic regression as being best placed, and it's also providing me information about what in the features or in the data we provided AutoML, ultimately what was most useful in helping to come to a prediction. And we can see things like the satisfaction score and the number of referrals and the customer's monthly charge as being some key drivers or some key smoke signals that might indicate to us that a customer might be about to churn. Now, the real value is then deploying these models inside our Qlik applications themselves, where then we can start to explore some of those outcomes and again, see some of those key drivers or that feature importance to help to understand ultimately what are the data elements that are leading the model to come to that prediction there. And so inside my Qlik application, I can maybe select just my VIP customers. And again, I can see what are the key features that are driving that decision for those customers to churn. I could also select an individual customer and even at a row level see specifically what are the features, what are the data values that the model used in order to come to that particular determination. We can then take this a step further, and if there's things we can change, like things like price sensitivity or plan or things like that, we could even start to incorporate some of that what-if analysis directly into our Qlik applications, ultimately helping users determine.
Contribution needs to include CCTO.
Ultimately helping users determine, what is the best action to take in order to mitigate the outcome there. We're going for time. The last thing I wanted to touch on very briefly is then just talking a little bit about what's new in terms of Qlik Sense, our client managed, our core visualization capabilities. Now, for our SaaS customers, we release new capability every week on a Thursday. For our client managed customers, we do 4 releases a year with a recent release just last month. And I did just want to highlight really that in this release, there is a whole bunch of new styling, controlling capabilities available. The ability to have custom images in the background of your sheets, the ability to style font types and header sizes and colors, really great capability ultimately to help you create really fantastic looking guided applications. And then just finally, I did just want to give you a preview of a little bit more as to what's to come in some of what we're doing in our dashboarding and analytics capabilities. Specifically, we're looking at building out some, improving our filter pane with some additional styling options there. We're creating new versions of our table objects, ultimately to help us support more use cases, including self-service report building and table building, as well as the ability to create better financial reports with pivot tables. And then we're also currently working on brand new layout features, which will make it possible to conditionally control things like the selection bar, the sheet title, will give a more restrictive grid, as well as offering the ability to potentially place objects, overlap objects, and create separate side panels and overlays. So that's everything I wanted to cover in terms of what's new with Qlik, focusing in on Qlik Cloud data integration and AutoML, touching a little bit on some of our visual analytics capabilities there as well. And then just finally, I did want to remind everyone that if you have, certainly if you have feedback around, different enhancements potentially you might be looking for in our Qlik products, Qlik community is the place to go for a whole range of use cases, but specifically around product ideation. So I encourage everyone, if you're not already across product ideation in Qlik community, go ahead and have a look what other users are suggesting, vote for some of those ideas if they would add value to you. Ultimately, that helps us to guide some of our development effort. And that's it for me. So again, I'm not sure if I have a few minutes for questions.
Do we have any questions? Yes, Craig.
In the auto machine learning, can you look underneath the covers to see what it's doing? Because sometimes you need to optimize a model and it goes to production and you got to tweak parameters and so on.
Matt, did you hear? Sorry, Craig. Can you hear what Craig is saying?
Yes, being able to tweak underneath the covers and that sort of thing. So definitely being able to see what we call the SHAP values, or ultimately the explainability behind the model, helps our customers see at a row level ultimately what's driving the behavior of the model. Now, we can't necessarily tweak that. I mean, the point of automated machine learning is that it's making the best decision based on the inputs, but certainly as part of potentially being able to add different scenario planning, the ability to use variables and provide alternate values and have that prediction in real time can provide a mechanism to overwrite ultimately what is the model doing in terms of coming up with that output there. Alternatively, you could take the SHAP values and come up with your own sort of algorithm to incorporate those and change the power of those there. But really for us, that customization comes down to being able to see ultimately what is the influence of each of those columns, each of those features, and potentially change some of the input information and see how that might ultimately affect the outcome.
Yeah, there's multiple machine learning algorithms that are effectively industry standards that organizations use, mostly in coded language through Python and R and so forth. What we're doing is we're taking that approach that's usually requires a programmer to be able to build these very complicated things in a not very visually easy to understand way if they're trying to be able to have conversations about those machine learning activities with the rest of the team or with management, and make that process far easier. So a typical programmer that would be doing those sort of activities would take longer to do it, and it would be more difficult for them to be able to share and actually explain how that's all being developed for them, because it is quite complicated. We don't put all of the machine learning algorithms in there, but we've got, once they reach a certain threshold in terms of what the industry understands the accuracy of those are, then we review those periodically and we add them into into our program. So and you've got the choice of multiple algorithms. So you've got the flexibility. I think if you're kind of looking to tweak things, you've got the flexibility to use different machine learning algorithms, and you can actually, the information about those algorithms are all there, and people that are in that industry can look that up and kind of fairly easily understand the difference between the algorithms, and that's the flexibility. But what we provide is a range of those, and also it provides the recommendation as to which one's going to provide the best outcome, and you can see the details in terms of how what's formed the most important components to the view of that outcome. But ultimately, it's not so much that's important as being able to ask those what if questions about the data, and really take analytics to a new level. That's not looking at dashboards so much, but being able to ask questions about the data, about predictions and so forth. Which is a step further than what we've been able to do previously.
Sergey, sorry, you're on mute.
Sorry, one last question. Did you hear it?
No.
Can we use AutoML to discover data quality issues?
So that is a great question. Definitely, AutoML will help us to surface trends in the data. And obviously, if we're seeing trends that are unexpected, potentially driven by data quality issues, potentially AutoML can add value there. But certainly this topic of combining the capability of AutoML with part of that data onboarding and ingestion and preparation process is a really interesting topic for us, and something that we are looking to work on this year as well, in order to enhance some of that data preparation capability to do things like auto classification, and again, look for anomalies in the data as part of an integrated experience, as part of some of those integration capabilities that I shared earlier. So definitely AutoML is great for spotting those trends. If those trends are coming about from data quality issues, then absolutely you will see it. But there are some other things we're looking at in terms of specifically using that capability around the preparation around some of that preparation requirement, which I think sits more closely to the question there.
Right. Thank you, Matt and Sebastian. Thank you very much. They joined us from Melbourne, I believe. So let's share my screen for a moment. Not now. Oops. So our next presentation is BI and beyond, how to improve user engagement with analytics. It will be presented by Gennadii and Anna from Acton. They joining us from London. It's quite early for them today. So, but I hope they had coffee. So over to you, Anna and Gennadii. We don't hear you. You're on mute.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Excellent. I will start with the question that you hear most often these days in Zoom presentation. Can you see our screen? You can. Okay, good.
Yes.
So Anna and I represent Acton. We are based actually in Reading, which is 30 miles from London, so not so far from London. And we are working in a product called Acton Insight Hub, and the primary focus of this product is to advance informed decision making. If you try to translate that into common language, we're trying to help our clients to increase BI adoption in their companies and involve as many people as possible in their organizations in insight-based or data-based decision making. Why we decided to focus on this problem? We normally do a quick survey here, but as we don't have time for that, I don't know if any of you are measuring the level of BI adoption or controlling the level of BI adoption in your company. But what the analysts say, they say that the global BI adoption rate across all organizations is about 26%. And this is confirmed by Gartner. They say that only 30% of all employees are actually using BI tools in our organizations. Now, there are many reasons behind that, but I will try to explain what we think the main reason is on an analogy. Here you can see something that we call a retail supply chain. Where when we want to build and sell new product, we start with some raw material that is then supplied to manufacturers. Manufacturers build a product. The product then goes to distributors. Distributors deliver the products to retailers, and the new product ends up on the retailer's shelf. But does it necessarily mean that the customers will come and find the product and buy it? Of course not. And retailers use all sort of tricks to solve this problem. We experience it every day, seeing lots of messages from retailers in our inbox, SMSs, and we experience it every time that we come to a shop. If we try to take this analogy into the data chain, and this is something that was probably presented at one of the Matt slides again. So data chains work in a very similar manner. We take the raw data, and then we take it to data preparation or ETL process. Then we load it into a data warehouse. Then we build data marts for specific subject areas, and then we use a BI tool like Qlik to visualize the data in a dashboard or report. But does it necessarily mean that our buyers will come and buy our product? Probably not. So we see that there is a problem here. We are very good in building the product, the analytical product. We have a very powerful tools like Qlik that help us do a very good job in that, but we are not probably very good in selling the product to our clients. And this is something that we're trying to resolve with our Product Acton Insight Hub. We're trying to make it easier for our buyers to find the product on our shelf, understand how they can benefit from buying this product, and then eventually buy the product. If you try to project that onto a very common architecture or BI system, and again, we've seen a similar diagram in Matt's presentation, we see that what we are trying to do to the traditional data chain represented here, we are trying to add a new layer into this architecture. And the main idea of this layer is to change user experience, first of all, making it easier to find, read, and interpret information they need to support their decision in a complex analytical environment. This idea is, of course, not something revolutionary. Some of you might be using self-built products on this layer, like using a SharePoint or other tool. But we are working in a commercial version of a product that has to fill in this layer, additional layer, and Gartner calls us analytics catalog. In Forrester's terms, we are BI portal. Some other analytics call us analytics gateway. So there is still no single name for this new category of products. If we try to understand how implementation of this additional layer manifests itself in our real life, we can see that some of our clients that are implementing Acton Insight Hub, they can see the results that are presented on these slides. We solve the problem with reports or information being scattered over a number of systems. Even if you're just standardizing on Qlik, you still have lots of reports in Excel files or PDF files. So we integrate that information about all these assets in one single platform. We make it easier, as I said already, to find a report, read, interpret it, understand how this specific information applies to the decisions that we're going to make. We try to minimize or eliminate arguments between departments over definitions and calculations, because all the definitions and calculations are stored in one place and shared between all the stakeholders. We provide a clear ownership and our accountability over reports, dashboards, and other analytical assets, so that people could easily find the person that can give them an advice, share an advice, or maybe share some additional information about the report or metric. We are trying to bring down the load on the BI team. Of course, if you're understaffed, we can solve that problem, but our experience says that we can probably reduce the number of requests that are coming to the BI team by 20–30%, which is probably a good result. We try to bring down the cost for development and maintenance of reports, storing all the knowledge in one place, and we try to control the uncontrolled proliferation of reports and make it easy to find duplicates or faint reports and make our BI or analytical environment clean if you want. So if I'm trying to summarize what the product does again, we provide a single point of access to decision support information. It could be one tool, a number of BI tools, or it could be one tool in Excels. We provide governance processes, analytics governance processes. We call them light processes because complex processes are not welcomed very well by users. We provide control of the BI environment, giving detailed analytics on what's going on with our users, our reports, and our licenses. And we support processes of migration or building a new data warehouse, new analytical system. And we help to collect and preserve the knowledge about our analytical assets. So that's the idea behind the product. And now we'll do a quick demo. And then if we have time, maybe 2 or 3 questions.
Okay, so I will briefly show you how our Insight Hub looks. So here you can see, just a second, I need to switch. So here you can see the homepage of our Analytics Hub. This is my homepage. So right after login, I can see all reports that I'm using on a daily basis. You can see that it can be stored in different tools like Qlik, but at the same time, if, for example, we are in the process of migration, we can have here other tools like Power BI, Tableau, and some reports saved in Excel or PDF. So for end user, I do not need to log in into a few tools. I can find all reports I need here on my homepage. To open a report, to access the data, we just click an open button, and you can see that I'm switching to a Qlik environment. So we are not duplicating the functionality of BI tools. We are just trying to make it easier for users to work with analytics from one single place. Insight Hub includes 3 modules: business glossary, where we keep definitions like descriptions of indicators, dimensions, data source, business terms. In report catalog, we keep the description of all reports that we have in our company. They can be divided by different analytics areas and tools, and organizational domains to make it easier for every department to find analytics they need. So if, say, as a user, I need to find a new report, all reports that we are using in our company, I can find here in my report catalog. In Qlik or in other BI tools, we cannot even see the list of reports because we have internal system of permissions and users are not allowed to see the data. But as we are not keeping the data itself here in our hub, we can create a list of all reports that the company has. And if, say, as a user, I need to find a new report, I can easily do this with the help of search and filtering panel. So I have cards for my reports and say I need to find a new report. No matter in what system it is stored, I need data update to say weekly. I want to find a report with the number of my active customers, say number of my new customers, say number of return. As soon as I define my requirements, I can see a short list of reports. Even if I have thousands of reports in my report catalog, I can easily find what I need. And then I can open the description because normally I do not have access to the data. So if I try to open it, I will see notification that I cannot see the data. But first I can check the description. So I can see the report is published, which means I can rely on the quality of the data. I can see description, screenshots, how often the data updated. Also for developers, we can add calculation details with the detailed description to make it easier to maintain reports. And on the tab relations, I can see the relations with all objects. It can be business objects like indicators, dimensions, but at the same time, some technical objects like data sources, data sets, and so on. On the tab responsibilities, we can find all persons who are responsible for this report and the detailed history of changes to keep the history of changes in the metadata and to bring governance and control over reports. So if, say, as a user, I need to get requests, get access to this report, I just click Request Access button, and the process is starting, and we're just moving from one step to another. If I have some questions about this report, I can ask someone in chat. So all processes we have tried to organize in a chat-like way to make it easier for users, like in Slack or any other messengers. And if when I open a report and I still have some questions, for example, I'm not sure how the indicator is calculated, I can just find the indicator I need. Normally we have quite a lot of objects, but with the help of filtering panel, we can easily find what we need. In the same way as with reports, we have the description for indicators, terms like definition, unit of measure, calculation formulas, and so on. So, so with the help of Insight Hub, we can organize all work with analytics from a single place. And to manage our requests for new analytics, just click on the plus button, click on request objects with the dynamic forms to request a report or anything we need.
That's a fairly quick presentation, but I hope it gives you an idea what we're trying to achieve with Acton Insight Hub. If there are any questions, and we still have a couple of minutes, we can answer a few questions. Sergey?
Do we have any questions? Anyone? We got one chance. No, in that case, I have a question for you, for everybody. So I forgot to do it for the previous session because it's the first time we are running this, but I'll share my screen. Can you please get your phones out? And we will do a quick survey of how you like this session. In this case, it will give us some feedback on how everything, what we should present or what we shouldn't present. I'm pretty sure we should. So, okay, login. What? There we go. Again, how many times I can log in? Sorry. Huh? No? Authorizing. So I'll run second pool and I'll present it now. Sorry, it's a bit slow. Here we go. Can you please scan this QR code and put some? It's so anonymous, so we won't know who votes how, but we will see quick results. Pardon me? All right, let me try again.
Navigation is for this one or be this one?
No, it's just for this one. All right, it's already 17, 18 people. How many we've got today? I think this is it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Sergey, thank you for inviting us. We see that there is still space for improvement, of course, but the results are good.
Oh, that was very.
Yeah,
that was very quick one.
Yeah, there were no questions. I just want to say that if you have any questions or you want to see a more deep demo of the product, please just write to Sergey and he'll arrange contact. For now, we'll be switching off because it's probably a good time for us to go and grab a cup of coffee in our local Starbucks. Thank you, everyone,
Yes.
for listening. And thank you, Sergey, for inviting.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Gennadii. That was a very good one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So what is the next one? And the next one is a survey result from Richard. Richard, it's over to you. I'm continuing sharing my screen. Yes, opening your presentation. That would be this one. Here we go. Do you want me to go to this mode?
Yeah, that's great. I'll just use the cursor keys.
Yeah, just use use those keys.
Yep, cool. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Richard Gruchy. I work for IGO. It's a mining company, and we are fairly heavy users of QlikSense. But I've been working in with Qlik products for too long. No, for about 8 or 9 years, I guess it is now. Okay, so I do have a question for Sergey. Is there going to be a survey on my presentation about the survey? Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Oh, phew. Okay.
Click just here.
Oh, okay. So yes, we sent out a survey a couple of weeks ago, just to try and get some more information about this group. So we want to find out a bit more information about the members of the group, what products you use, the meeting location and the frequency, so the sort of mechanics of how we do our group, and the content that you wanted to see, and any suggestions that that everybody had was out there. So in terms of responses, as Sergey mentioned earlier, we didn't have a terrific response, but I know that everybody's sort of overloaded with surveys and whatever all the time, so I understand that. So we had 12 responses, and from my point of view, I've just basically taken that as a cross section of the group, and as it's going to be representative of the way everybody feels. It's not necessarily the case, but that's all I can do with the responses that I have. So, yeah, so thanks to everybody who took the time to reply for this. Let's have a look at what we've got. So in terms of the experience that people have, in terms of the people that responded, it's huge. So we had the majority of people who responded had more than 5 years experience with Qlik applications. So that is pretty high. I was quite surprised to see that. And then we've got 3 further people with 3 to 5 years. So there's a lot of experience out there. That's great. And in terms of the roles that the respondents occupied, then most people were Qlik developers. Then we had some users. We had a consultant, and we had oh yeah, okay. So a mix. Sorry, yep. So we had a QlikView developer and a QlikSense who's a QlikSense consumer. So the product usage, certainly. So this just doesn't mean that we had 8 people that used QlikSense Enterprise only, because I had to do some totaling and things. So we, in terms of individuals, so QlikSense Enterprise 8. QlikView, which I'm quite surprised actually to see that QlikView is still, at least with the respondents that we had, is still in very heavy use. Interesting. In printing, so we had 2 cloud users and 1 data integration user, who I believe was pretty much a user of all of that. So they do a vast range of Qlik work. So. So in terms of because I'm running through this quite quickly, I don't have an awful lot of time, but the venue and the attendance. So we had of people who replied, most people prefer to attend in person, and also most people do like this as a location, this hotel here. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah, you get to frequent that later if you want. And in terms of the frequency of the meetings, then almost everybody was happy with quarterly, and 1 person suggested they prefer half yearly. So I'll come on to that just at the end. And with the preferences, then interestingly, yeah. So we have still a fair majority who, well, sorry, we're saying a few people would prefer a city location, some not. So it's difficult to work out what we're going to do with that one. I'll come to that later. topics. So, are there any topics that you would like covered? So, set analysis and how to make good-looking dashboards. So, those are two topics that we can definitely cover, I would say. And business use cases of examples with QlikSense. Well, we're constantly asking for those. So we're asking for people, come and tell us what you do with QlikSense in your workplace. What have you done to be something technically amazing? Just something that's useful, and something that you've created. And we all like to see what's going on out there. So likes and dislikes. So here we have the likes. So basically, people are saying it's friendly. I like to see tips and tricks, and definitely people like to hear what other people are up to. So going back to what I said before, if anybody's got any presentations, then we'd love to see them. But what people don't like, lack of new faces. Well, in fact, we fixed that one today because we have quite a number of new faces. So I could take that one on the list, off the list. And the other one goes to do with the timing of the meeting, in that it unfortunately clashes with school pickup. So we can perhaps discuss something with that. I'm not sure. Okay, so membership. Yeah. I haven't actually gone through much of this, actually. This was one of the last slides I put together. Yeah. So we're talking about new groups and bringing new people, and that is certainly something that has been mentioned in the past, is that there are new users out there for Qlik in WA, then certainly we would like to meet those. And if Qlik can do anything themselves to provide those contact details, or contact those, perhaps contact those people directly and just inform them of this forum, then that would be great. And yes, encourage all Qlik developers to attend.
Business users.
Yes, and business users. Yep. So questions 14. Would anybody able to be able to host? No hands went up on that question. And also, do you have a presentation? There were no takers on that one either. But somebody out there has a presentation, surely. Okay, so some conclusions that I quickly put together myself, and these are my my take on the survey results. So it's not, these have not been discussed with the committee, but we can certainly discuss that at the next meeting. So yes, first of all, QlikView is still in use. Perhaps we need to do something on QlikView at some stage. And on-premise is still the prevalent solution. So we do talk a lot about cloud solutions and stuff, but it seems that most people are still using on-prem. And from the answers that were there, it seems that predominantly we have the frequency and the location of the meetings about right on so I don't think we need to adjust too much on that. And yes, people love tips, tricks, and advice sessions. So we can certainly include more of those. And I kind of gathered this from some of the answers, but and from my personal opinion as well, I guess, is that in-person networking is important, and we do have a larger number of people here than we normally have. So that's great. Yes. So people want to know more about set analysis, but who wants to volunteer for that one, Sergey? Oh,
sorry, someone is just trying to be. Oops. Oh, they updated to the already. Here we go.
That's all right. Nice. That concludes my presentation.
I mean, that's very useful. I think, yeah, seeing all of that gives a much better understanding around the cross section of the group. I mean, look, it is true. We talk about cloud a lot more than on premise. I'd be happy to make sure that at least our part of the content for the next session is focused on-premise, the on-premise developments that we've made to the platform in the recent months. But I think it's clear as well that Qlik is heading towards the cloud, and part of what we're sharing is roadmap focused and sharing the new capabilities that have been brought to the platform. There are options for customers that have on-premise they don't have to switch to the cloud in full to take advantage of that. We've got hybrid options as well that can give access to a lot of those capabilities. But there's a number of the capabilities that we've released which they're only available in the cloud. So I don't know that that's necessarily going to change. So I think you'll still see that cloud forms a reasonable composition of what we share in the future as well.
Sure. I mean, that's only obviously those people that responded. It could be that had we had a bigger response, we would have had a swing towards cloud. I don't know. That's just really the takeaway from the survey, really.
My personal observation as well is that even talking to most of our customers that are on premise, I think most of them have cloud strategies anyway and are interested to move more things to the cloud. I understand that that's not possible for every organization, but there's a lot of advantages in the cloud in that you don't have to manage the underlying infrastructure, that you don't have to go and upgrade the system every time there's a new release. It's automatically done for you. So there's, even outside all the extra features, there's some significant cost and ease of use benefits to the cloud anyway.
Thank you for that.
I'm sorry for you to interrupt, but we are running out of time slowly, and I've got 2 presentations to go. So thank you, Richard. Thank you very much for the presentation. Thanks, Sebastian, for your feedback. And we actually got a volunteer from New South Wales, Tony, who is happy to present in the future. So that's a good outcome for this meeting already. So let me share my screen. So there are 2 presentations left. One of them is different flavors of self-service Qlik versus Power BI, which will take a little bit of time. And another one is how to Qlik tip. So do you want to do 2 or just 1? Which one do you prefer? Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's do this. That's fine. Okay. So let's run with this. That's good to know, and I think you will be able to discuss it right after that, right? Now I'm going to quickly show, that I'm Sergey Makushynski, if now someone doesn't know me, but I've been using Qlik for 15 years, maybe 16 now. So you might find this analysis a little bit biased, but I'm trying just to present facts. Yep. A little bit, yeah, a little bit. So, right, let's see. So first of all, we need to define what is self-service, because it all depends. Everybody is telling about it, talking about it. However, it's not really, there is no common language, unfortunately. So this is what Gartner even says, and there are 2 definitions. I was surprised. I found 2. And basically, this self-service business intelligence is defined here as end users designing and deploying their own reports and analysis within an approved and supported architecture, which is very important, and tools portfolio. So it's almost the same in the second one, with a small characteristic that it's a simple to use BI tools and so on, but yeah, roughly the same thing. So the next use cases, is this? You're just on time. We are comparing Power BI and Qlik, but just self-service bit. So type of users or use cases. We've got consumers who are just simply seeing the report, trying to do something with it, maybe print it out, maybe do some analysis. Then we've got business users who building a little bit here and there. They're trying to add new charts or make this report happen, but not doing really data work. Then we've got power users or data champions who are actually know their data. They can grab things from different sources, put it all together, and build some report application, whatever you call it. So the fourth is IT or data overseers. I would say it's more developers or governance people who are actually know how things supposed to be done. Yep, very different ones. So the question is actually for you, what is self-service for you? Do you mind? I'm not sure how to run it for our virtual participants, but we can try to do it right here. So using the BI application to answer the question, is it self-service? Please raise the hand if you think so. Okay, that's good. 3. So adjustment of existing applications. So you can do something with like, let's say, add a column or make different, replace the chart if it's self-service. Okay, more people. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The majority. Rearranging the objects as you like. So basically, you had one. It's very similar to previous one, but is this self-service? Please raise the hand. Yeah, roughly the same people, even more. Creation of new views for existing data set within the same application. Is it self-service? Like you said, you've got a view of your, I'm just trying to explain. You've got your dashboard, but then you say, I don't need dashboard, I need more detailed table. And you just create a new view of the same data that is within existing application. So is this self-service? Okay. Sharing the above, I believe it's also would be included, and I believe everyone agrees. Then adjusting the application by adding new data, is it self-service? Yes. Can you raise the hand? I just want to see how many people we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Less already. Creation a new application based on prepared some data sets. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see, we are moving out of business exposure to more working with data. Going next, creation of new data sets to be used by some applications. So basically, you are not really building reports, you are building data sets. Is it self-service? No. Okay, that's good to know. Developing a brand new application from scratch. Is it Qlik? Okay, it is self-service. Okay, we've got one person, two people. Okay, that's good. Right, now we kind of clear what everybody thinks what self-service is. And as you can see, the results are quite different. So let's see about what type of self-service we've got in Qlik. First, using the apps to answer the question. Second, do some quick look and feel adjustments. You can use the same objects like master items but create a new different layout. You can use the same data set, which is your data model, and but create different objects, add the new fields, all of this. Then level 3 is app creation based on predefined data sets. So basically, you've got some PVT files and so on. I wouldn't say it is self-service, but it might be for some people. Level 4, you can build, any user who's got professional license can build the application. They can do some prototyping. So in this case, I tend to agree with that it is possible, but it's a little bit outside. Let's see what type of self-service we've got in Power BI. This is a very different one and very interesting one. So manage self-service BI. The goal is, I will read it. The goal is for many report creators to reuse shared data sets. This includes decoupling the report creation process from the data set creation process. So basically, you've got data set, and you've got your own report. But the focus on reusability of those data sets, not reports. So it is to encourage report authors to find and reuse an existing shared data set. It should be endorsed and made discoverable in the data hub in the Power BI service. So this one sounds to me as we are trying to reuse existing data set. So create new report based on this. It sounds to me like that. So next one. Customized managed self-service BI. The focus here is on dataset creator, customizing or extending an existing dataset to satisfy your requirements. So again, we are working with data. We are not working with report itself. Yeah, it sounds like that to me. This scenario describes publishing and customized data model where some tables are new while others are dependent on existing shared data set. By the way, this one is from official Microsoft documentation. It's not that I made it up. It's I can give you a link. Next one, self-service data preparation. The focus is on centralizing data preparation activities to improve consistency and reduce effort. The scenario describes creating Power BI data flows to avoid repeating data preparation, Power Query logic, and so on and so on. So basically, again, it's more talking about data preparation, data flows. It's just decoupling decoupling the data from the report itself, which is great. However, it is very different to what I feel it should be self-service. Anyway, next one, advanced data preparation. I think I wouldn't go to the details because you can see it there, but again, it is all about the data, not about the outcome, not about the result. Next one, prototyping and sharing, finally. Sorry, it is basically, its prototyping techniques are very useful for validating requirements for visual and calculation by subject matter experts. So it's a temporary short-lived solutions, and they might evolve into big applications. So this is what we just discussed, that it's a basically brand new application when you're prototyping something new. Each of those have a self-service in it. However, the only one that doesn't have self-service, in my opinion, is self-service. It's why when I hear that Microsoft Power BI is a self-service tool, according to this, it might be in someone's opinion. Anyway, so the thing is that I watched multiple videos from experts who were explaining what is self-service in Power BI, and all examples I heard, they were not like this. They were not related to the data. They were related to just normal use of the app, that people are able to click on something and get screen refreshed, which is in Qlik we were doing for the last 20 years. So, and no one called it self-service, by the way. So let's see a quick comparison of those things. So basically, I put them just next to each other to see what is matching and what is missing. Yeah, we can say that both tools, they allow you to answer the question, which is great. So I haven't found anything in Power BI related to quick look and feel adjustments in published apps. His might have a different opinion on it, but we will hear. So you can't really change anything in the published application, because what I found, in order to make the change, you need to take a copy or make a change or have access and change the particular application. So it means that the original view will disappear if you change it. So next one, same data, different objects. Again, in Qlik, it's represented in Power BI. I don't see how. Then app creation based on predefined data sets. This is what is called managed self-service BI, as well as app development, including data acquisition, transformation, saving and reuse, saving for reuse. It is how I call it in Qlik, and all other types of self-service in Power BI just falls into this category. Now it would be great to map it to the users, type of users, which I mentioned originally. So I was trying to match the colors, didn't do it well, but I hope you understand. Green is green, yeah? So the first level, consumers or data readers, they basically can do first two things here. Then business users or data visualizers, I would say they cover it in Qlik in those two levels where same objects can be reused with different layout, or we can reuse data in the application and just create a new sheet and then make it happen. Then power users or data champions, yes, they can create their own prototypes, and this is, I believe, is good. Then app development, including data acquisition, maybe not really. Prototyping, no, then I've got mix, but as you can see, the data transformation and saving for reuse, it's more up to the IT people, not really up to the business people. So I think it is apparent that Power BI, in my, again, opinion, it's just only my opinion, no one else's, missing this actually self-service bit where users can easily adjust what they see. I can give you an example. I won't give you an example in Power BI, but I will give you an example in Qlik. So basically, this is how it all looks in Power BI or Qlik. In Qlik, you've got this, oops, I was too fast, duplicate button, while in Power BI, you've got number of objects. You've got reports, you've got data, you've got data marts and data flows. It's more data, less reports. If you need to, in my case, in my opinion, it looks that, yes, you can reuse the same data set, but you need to or copy existing report or adjust existing report that will affect your original version. So what it means that in order to preserve previous version, you will always create a new one and you will end up with the same thing as you have in Excel. You've got Excel spreadsheet, then you copy it, you got another Excel spreadsheet, then you've got another Excel spreadsheet, and so on and so on and so on. Again, it's only my opinion. So let me show you how it looks. I'll just do this in quickly in Qlik. As usual, it's got disconnected. I hope this time I won't need to enter the password so many times as I did last time. Here we go. It's just my Qlik Cloud tenant. Curious Qlik Cloud tenant. So let's say you've got this dashboard, you've got multiple sheets in it, like multiple. Then I want to take a copy, like I can't change here anything except that I can use it. Yeah, I can use it quite easily. I can make selections and it's all great. So, however, if I want to change it, I just click this button, duplicate. And when I click this button, I can say, right, I want to replace my site to something else. Let's say company involved. And I've got new chart. For me, this is Qlik self-service. I can remove this chart if I don't like it, or I can remove this chart. I can, what? As usual. It's live demo, you know, it's always like that. You can't expect that it's all working fine. I can add a new object and say, I want to do an employer and I want to do some measure, and I can just pick it from predefined measures as developer did that. And it just works. Then the most important thing that you can go here and say publish and make it public straight away. So that's why, like, the conclusion, yeah. So conclusion is basically the same as I mentioned here. So in my opinion, there is, while Power BI is positioned as a self-service platform, it is very much oriented to create new reports, acquire data, reuse data sets, but not really use what you have and extend it. So any questions? No? All questions afterwards, yeah? So I will run the survey now. You can say whatever. So I expect interesting outcomes. Any questions from our virtual participants? No. Yeah, here we go. Because I believe topic is hot. Everyone is comparing. Everyone was comparing Qlik and Tableau previously. Now it is Qlik and Power BI. So just 9 people. Anybody else?
Thanks for
You think so? Or maybe. We got 11. Let's give it another 10 seconds. That's it. You can try to do it twice, but it doesn't work. I tried. Thank you for your feedback. In that case, I will deactivate the poll. So last bits and pieces from myself.
water drinks with this.
Can you order drinks with that as well? No, not today.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, well. Thanks.
So yes, as usual, if you have something to present or you want to hear something, just let us know. And we will try to come up with some topic or with some presentation. But if you can present, that would be great. So it can be technical, it can be not technical, as the last one. It was not technical at all. But please come. So our next meeting is going to be on Thursday, 25th of May. I don't think we will move it. And these are our committee members. You can contact anyone as you wish, if you wish. So temporarily, I'm the chair of this committee, and I'm chairperson of this committee, and I'm trying to manage and organize it. But I actually looking for another committee member, and maybe the person who would like to be a chairperson, because I believe this one shouldn't be run by Qlik partners or Qlik itself, but it should be run by business. So that's why if you have willingness to do so, please come. Just even become a committee member, that would be great, because we have a 1 slot, at least one. We can always extend it. It's flexible, you know. So any questions, feedback? Great, thank you. On this note, I'm closing our meeting. Thank you very much for coming.